Hello, guys. Welcome you all to the Insights into Books podcast. Before we start, kindly follow or subscribe us to get updated. Now, let's start today's discussion, guys. Today, we're embarking on a really fascinating deep dive. We're looking into something that's kind of shifted how a lot of people think about personal growth, about making changes stick. It's this idea about the incredible power of tiny shifts in our daily lives. We're going to unpack the core concepts, behind building good habits, getting rid of the bad ones. And there's this surprisingly solid framework that suggests it can lead to some pretty remarkable transformation. It's all about understanding how these tiny, almost insignificant seeming changes, when you apply them consistently, with intention, how they can actually spark really profound, lasting change in your life.
Yeah, and what's really, I think, captivating about this whole approach is that it goes way beyond just scratching the surface. It digs into the systemic, almost like the architectural way these small improvements stack up. They build something much, much bigger than just the sum of the parts. And this isn't just, abstract theory. It's designed to be practical, actionable. It's got roots in behavioral psychology, offering a pretty clear roadmap, not just for your actions, but for designing your whole environment, your mindset even. The idea is to make success almost an inevitable result of your daily choices, rather than this constant uphill battle of willpower. Building a system that works for you, not against you.
Okay, let's get into it. We're talking about this idea that even really minuscule shifts, tiny little things, can ignite this, almost explosive change. The word used, atomic, it actually seems to have like 3 different layers of meaning. Makes it sound quite profound. What's the genius behind that specific word, atomic? It feels like it's more than just saying think small.
Oh, absolutely. There's definitely more to it. The beauty of atomic is really in those layers. It starts, quite literally, with the idea of something tiny, incredibly small, like an actual atom, right? The basic building block. So these first changes, they need to be easy to start, almost trivial, non-threatening, the kind of thing you can sustain because it doesn't require this huge surge of motivation or effort.
Ah, okay. Like doing one push-up instead of aiming for an hour at the gym right away.
Exactly. It lowers that barrier to entry, overcomes that initial inertia. Just getting started is often the hardest part.
Right. Reduces the intimidation factor.
Yeah.
Makes that first step feel almost negligible.
Precisely. But that's just the first layer. The second meaning of atomic is about how these tiny units, these habits, they accumulate. They layer on top of each other, just like atoms bond together to form molecules, then larger systems. Your habits aren't really isolated events. They're part of a bigger personal system. You're running all the time, your health system, your work system, financial system, whatever it is. It's the continuous adding and integrating of these habits that drives the real results. It's rarely one single heroic act.
So if you, say, read just one page every night, it's not just reading a page, you're actually building the system of being a reader.
You got it. That reframes it completely, doesn't it? It's not just about doing small things. It's recognizing how those small acts become vital components of bigger, more powerful structure.
Yeah, it's like an architect, starting with individual bricks, but already seeing the whole building. Or, how tiny raindrops eventually form a huge river.
That's a great analogy. The goal isn't just laying one brick. It's consistently laying bricks, knowing each one adds to the strength and, eventually, the shape of the whole thing. Or think about those water droplets individually. They seem like nothing. But together, they form clouds, rain, carve canyons, fill oceans. It helps us see the real weight of seemingly small daily choices. You start seeing habits as investments, each one potentially yielding huge returns over time.
Okay, so tiny. Then systemic. What's the third layer? Because that implies some kind of major outcome, right?
Right. And this is the really exciting part. The final layer is that atomic also implies a source of immense energy or power. Like splitting an atom unleashes incredible force. Well, these small behaviors, when you integrate them, when you apply them consistently within your system, they can generate truly powerful, remarkable results in your life.
Yeah.
So you start small, manageable, integrate them into your personal system, and over time, boom, you witness these really powerful outcomes. It's about building, yes, but building towards like exponential impact. It's understanding that a tiny habit, consistently applied in a good system, isn't just small, it's the seed of something remarkable. It shifts from just a small change to a real force multiplier for transformation.
It's so easy, though, isn't it, to dismiss a tiny change? We think, okay, one push-up, one page, what real difference does that make towards my massive goal? But you're saying commit to being just 1% better each day.
Yeah.
The results are, not simple at all.
No, not at all. And the math here, it's really eye-opening. It perfectly shows why we should focus way more on our daily direction than just our current results. Let's look at the numbers. If you improve by just 1% every single day for a year, you don't end up 365% better. You actually end up about 37 times better. That's a 778% improvement. It's staggering.
37 times. Wow.
Yeah. And conversely, this is just as critical if you get just 1% worse each day. Maybe by repeating small mistakes, making tiny excuses, skipping those little important actions, you almost decline to zero. You degrade by nearly 97%. You end up at less than 3% of where you started. It's a huge difference. It really highlights that exponential curve of habits, good or bad.
So it's not linear at all. It's a curve that just shoots up or down dramatically over time, like a tiny ripple turning into a tidal wave.
Exactly like that. Or think about a plane flying from LA to New York. If the pilot is off by just, say, 3 degrees at the very beginning, that seems tiny, right?
Yeah, bigger, yeah.
But over thousands of miles, that plane isn't landing in New York. It might end up closer to, I don't know, Washington, D.C., or maybe even further off course, Tijuana, perhaps. That small deviation at the start leads to a massive difference later on. Your daily habits work exactly the same way. They are the compound interest of self-improvement. Whether you're building knowledge, boosting productivity, strengthening relationships, improving health, those small, consistent actions multiply over time. They create impacts way bigger than you'd initially guess.
That plane analogy really hits home. How tiny shifts, positive or negative, just get magnified into huge outcomes. It sounds like time is the ultimate amplifier for whatever we consistently feed it.
It really is. Good habits make time your greatest ally. Bad habits make time your enemy. Time magnifies consistency. And the most powerful outcomes of any compounding process, they're always delayed. Always. Which means you need patience. You need persistence. What starts as a tiny win or a minor slip-up, it builds into something much, much bigger than you can see at first.
So we hear all the time about needing these huge, dramatic transformations. But that feels overwhelming. The real insight here is that success is actually the product of these daily habits. It's not about those once-in-a-lifetime massive changes.
Exactly. It's the sum of countless small, repeatable actions.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that every little thing you do, good or bad, becomes a habit that compounds over time. It's not about that one heroic effort once in a blue moon. It's the accumulation, the steady drip, drip, drip of small improvements that drives the outcome, like wanting to read more. Downloading an app is fine, but it's just one tiny piece. Then you pick books you're actually excited about. You leave them out where you can see them. You commit to just one page before bed. These are all small compounding steps. Over months, years. That becomes a real reading habit, a deep well of knowledge, a richer life. It's the daily repetition doing the heavy lifting, even if you can't see the gains right away.
This all sounds incredibly logical, makes perfect sense. But I think we've all been there. You start strong. You're excited about a new habit, maybe going to the gym, eating healthier, and then you hit a wall. You don't see immediate results, you get discouraged, and often you just give up. What's happening there? In that phase where the effort doesn't seem to match the output, that valley of disappointment, how do you push through?
Yes, the valley of disappointment. You've pinpointed a really universal part of behavior change. Our expectation is almost always linear. We think, I put in X effort, I should see Y result right now. But reality, it just doesn't work like that. When you start anything new, there's usually this initial period, and can feel really long sometimes, where your efforts just don't seem to produce any noticeable return. That's the plateau of latent potential. You're putting in the work, showing up, making those 1% improvements. But you don't see anything changing. Your muscles aren't visibly bigger. Your Spanish isn't fluent yet. Your new business isn't flooded with clients.
It's like pouring water into a glass that looks empty, but it's actually filling up slowly below the rim. You don't see the water level rise until it finally crosses that visible threshold. That must be incredibly frustrating.
It is. That's a perfect way to put it. And it's deeply frustrating, which is exactly why most people give up right there. Their motivation just dries up because there's no instant gratification. Our brains are wired for immediate feedback. When it's missing, the brain often interprets that as, okay, this isn't working, time to stop.
So the key insight is what? That breakthrough moments are built on all that unseen work.
Exactly. Breakthrough moments are often the result of many previous actions, which build up the potential required to unleash a major change. Consistency during that plateau phase is absolutely critical. You're building up unseen potential. You're strengthening the roots of your new habit, even if you can't see the flower yet. Think of the stonecutter hammering away at a huge rock.
Right, the classic example.
He might hit it 100 times, and not a single crack appears. But then, on the 101st blow, it splits right in two. It wasn't just that last hit, was it?
Well, it was all the ones before it.
Exactly. It was the accumulation of all those previous blows. Each small effort, even the ones that seemed totally fruitless at the time, was contributing to that final visible breakthrough.
So those periods where nothing seems to be happening, they aren't lost days or wasted effort. They're actually foundational. It's about trusting the process, trusting the compounding effect, even when the feedback isn't immediate. Sticking with it when everything in you wants to quit.
Precisely. That initial period, it's an investment phase. You're building compound interest in your good habits. And crucially, you're stopping the negative compounding of bad habits that would otherwise drag you down. It can definitely feel like all sacrifice, no reward sometimes. You go to the gym a few times, but you don't look or feel drastically different. But in those moments, you're reinforcing your identity. You're becoming someone who shows up regardless of immediate results. You just have to be patient. Small changes often seem to make zero difference until you finally cross that critical threshold. Your outcomes are always a lagging measure of your habits, your net worth, lagging measure of financial habits, your weight, lagging measure of eating habits. You get what you repeatedly do. The reward will come, but often long after the consistent effort started.
Okay, that shifts the perspective. Let's talk about another shift. This idea about focusing on systems rather than goals, that feels provocative. We're constantly told,
Right.
set big, hairy, audacious goals, run that marathon, write the book, get the promotion. But this approach suggests that focusing only on those goals might actually be less effective for real, lasting change. It's like staring only at the finish line, ignoring the actual race.
You've nailed a really key distinction there. Goals are great, absolutely essential for setting direction. They give you something to aim for. But a deeper and I think more effective approach focuses on building robust system. Goals are about the results you want, the destination. Systems are about the processes that lead to those results. The journey, the vehicle, the daily actions. If you're struggling to change, the problem usually isn't you. It's not your lack of ambition. It's probably your system. There's a powerful line. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Your commitment to the process, to the daily actions. That's what dictates your long-term progress, not just how ambitious your goal is.
So if the goal is the destination, the system is everything else, the car, the map, the fuel, the driver's skill, the whole setup that gets you there again and again.
Precisely. Think about a sports team. If they just stare at the scoreboard all game, wanting to win, but don't execute their plays, don't have a system for practicing, for defense, for offense, their desire is just wishful thinking. Bill Walsh, the famous coach, said, the score takes care of itself. Focus on the execution, the system. The same applies everywhere.
Yeah.
Got a good system for learning, good grades will likely follow. Effective system for managing money. Financial stability tends to emerge. True long-term thinking isn't about hitting one target. It's about continuous refinement of your system.
It's not just winning one game, but playing the game well, consistently, refining the plays.
Exactly. The goals give you the initial direction, the spark, but the systems are what keep the fire burning day after day.
That makes a lot of sense. We get so fixated on the outcome, we forget the mechanics. And it sounds like focusing on systems could also help automate things, like a healthy morning routine, so you're not constantly deciding small stuff and burning mental energy.
Yes, that's a huge benefit. When you spend a lot of your brain power on small, repetitive decisions, what should I eat? Juan, should I exercise now or later? When do I check email? You have less mental energy left for the big stuff. Creative thinking, complex problem solving, deep work. By building systems of positive habits, you automate those routines. They become almost unconscious. You free up that valuable cognitive bandwidth. Instead of agonizing over breakfast every single day, a good system makes that choice automatic. Healthy food is just made. What happens? The goal ultimately is to build that compound interest in good habits while stopping the negative compounding of bad ones. It's about creating a robust, resilient architecture for your life.
Okay, now this next part. This feels like where it gets really deep, maybe even a bit philosophical. How does who we believe we are, our identity, tie into our habits? This sounds like a much bigger psychological shift than just changing actions.
It really is. And arguably, this is one of the most powerful levers for change. The most effective way to truly change your habits isn't just about what you want to achieve, the outcome, or even how you'll do it, the process system. It's fundamentally about who you desire to become. This shifts the motivation inward. It becomes intrinsic, deeply personal. True behavior change at its core is identity change.
Identity change, wow.
Think of it this way. Every action you take, no matter how small, is like casting a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Make your bed every morning. That's a vote for I am an organized person. Write every day, even just a little. Vote for I am a creative person. Study biology for an hour. You're gathering evidence that I am studious. The more votes you cast, the more evidence you accumulate for that belief about yourself, the more deeply you internalize it.
So the goal isn't just to read a book, it's to become a reader. Not just run a marathon, but become a runner. It's a fundamental shift in how you see yourself.
Exactly. Your identity literally emerges from your habits. You weren't born with fixed beliefs about yourself. They're learned, conditioned through experience, through repeated actions. When you truly embody an identity, I am a fit person, not just I want to exercise, then exercising becomes natural. It's integrated. It's far more sustainable because it's not something you have to do. It's just an expression of who you are. This alignment makes behavior change feel less like a constant fight against yourself and more like, well, just being yourself.
And you prove this new identity to yourself, not through big declarations, but through those small, consistent wins.
Yes, exactly. Small wins are the bedrock. And I've heard even subtle language shifts make a difference here. Like saying don't be a cheater is more effective than just don't cheat. Absolutely, that's a classic example. Don't be a cheater links the action directly to identity. It makes the potential bad behavior an attack on who you are or aspire to be. It hits deeper. When you consistently ask yourself, who is the type of person that could achieve the outcome I want, you start aligning your daily actions with that desired identity. Your habits become less about having something, a certain body, a certain bank balance, and more about becoming someone, the person you genuinely want to be. It's like continuous self-sculpting through daily actions.
That's a powerful foundation. Okay, let's get into the mechanics now, the how-to. How do habits actually work in the brain?
Yeah.
Is there a universal pattern, like a formula for everything from biting nails to daily meditation, something we can understand and then, tweak?
There is indeed a universal pattern. All habits, good or bad, follow this consistent neurological feedback loop. Cue, craving, response, reward. Think of it as your brain's shortcut system. It's how your brain learns and automates behaviors to solve recurring problems using the least amount of energy. Over time, it locks onto the cues that predict success and ignores everything else.
Okay, cue, craving, response, reward. Can you break down each step? Maybe use an example like mindlessly checking your phone. We all do that.
Sure, that's a perfect one. So first is the cue, the trigger. It's a piece of information that predicts a reward and tells your brain, hey, do this behavior. For the phone example, the cue could be the vibration, the notification sound, maybe just a moment of boredom at work, or even seeing someone else check their phone. Cues can be anything: time, location, a feeling, a person.
Okay, so the phone buzzes. That's the cue. What's next?
Next is the craving. This is the motivational force. It's the wanting of the reward, stimulated by the cue. It's not usually a craving for the phone itself, but for what it represents. Maybe it's the craving for information, connection, a distraction from boredom, or relieving that little bit of anxiety about missing something. You want to know who messaged, or you want that dopamine hit from social media.
Right, the desire kicks in.
Yeah.
Then comes the actual action.
Yes. Third is the response. This is the habit itself, the thought or action you perform to get the reward. In this case, picking up the phone, unlocking it, opening an app. Whether you perform the response depends on your motivation level and, importantly, how much friction there is. If it's easy and the craving is strong, the response is almost automatic.
And finally, the payoff.
Exactly. Fourth is the reward. This is the outcome that satisfies the craving and, crucially, teaches your brain, hey, that worked, let's do it again next time. It might be the satisfaction of knowing who messaged, a fleeting feeling of connection, or just temporary relief from boredom. Rewards satisfy us now and teach us for the future. If any part of this loop is weak, especially if the reward doesn't truly satisfy the craving, the behavior won't become a deeply ingrained habit.
Okay, so understanding this loop, cue, craving, response, reward, gives us the power to consciously design or redesign our habits. We can target specific parts of the loop for good habits and bad ones.
That's precisely the idea. Lasting change comes from continuously improving these feedback loops. For good habits, you optimize each stage to make them stronger. For bad habits, you disrupt the loop to make them weaker. Want to drink more water? Cue. Water bottle on desk. Obvious. Craving. Refreshment. Health. Attractive. Response. Pick it up and drink. Easy. Reward. Feeling hydrated. Satisfying. The more you run that loop, the stronger it gets. You can leverage this to make good habits almost irresistible and bad habits practically impossible.
All right, let's dive into the first law then. If we understand the loop, where do we start building a good habit or breaking a bad one? You said awareness is key. Making the invisible. visible.
You're absolutely right. Law 1 is make it obvious. It starts with awareness. So many habits are unconscious autopilot. We need to shine a light on them. A great tool for this is the habit scorecard. You literally list out your daily actions. Morning to night, wake up, check phone, brush teeth, make coffee, everything. Then you label each one positive, plus negative, or neutral based on whether it helps you become the person you want to be. No judgment, just observation. This makes you incredibly aware of your patterns. You might realize, wow, every time I finish lunch, I grab my phone or response and scroll for 20 minutes. Reward. You see the loop clearly.
Okay, so once we have that awareness, how do we actively make the good habits more obvious in our daily lives?
Environment is huge here. It's like the invisible hand-shaping behavior. Small tweaks to your surroundings can have a massive impact, much more than relying on willpower alone. To make good habit obvious, you design your environment strategically. Want to play guitar more? Don't hide it in the closet. Put it on a stand right in the middle of your living room. Want to eat fruit? Keep a fruit bowl on the counter, not hidden in the fridge drawer.
Visible cues.
Exactly. Make the cue unavoidable. Another technique is one space, one use. Maybe this chair is only for reading. Your desk is only for work, not for browsing websites. This creates strong, context-specific cues, and it's often easier to build new habits in a completely new environment because you aren't fighting against all the old, ingrained cues.
And for bad habits, we just flip it. Make them invisible. Reduce exposure to the triggers.
Precisely. Increase the friction by making the cues disappear. Want to cut down on mindless scrolling? Get those distracting apps off your phone's home screen? Better yet, put the phone in another room during focused work or family time.
Or unplug the TV and hide the remote.
Yes. Make it effortful to start the bad habit. The less you see the cue, the less likely the craving will even start. It's far easier to avoid temptation than to resist it head-on. Real self-control isn't about having iron willpower. It's often about spending less time in tempting situations. Make the bad habit invisible.
Are there specific techniques to make the intention for a new habit really clear and automatic from the start once the environment is set up?
Yes, 2 really powerful ones. First, implementation intentions. This provides absolute clarity. You create a specific plan beforehand using the structure. I will behavior at time and location. So not just I'll meditate more, but I will meditate for 1 minute at 7 a.m. in my kitchen. It removes all ambiguity. The decision is pre-made. Time and location are the strongest cues, and this leverages both.
Takes the guesswork out. What's the second technique?
Habit stacking. This is brilliant. You pair your desired new habit with an existing automatic habit you already do. The formula is, after current habit, I will new habit. Like, after I pour my morning coffee, current habit, I will meditate for 1 minute, new habit. Or, after I take off my work shoes, current habit, I will change into my workout clothes, new habit.
Ah, so you're piggybacking the new habit onto an established routine.
Exactly. It leverages the momentum you already have. You can even stack several habits together into a routine or chain. After I brush my teeth, I will stretch for 5 minutes, then I will plan my top 3 priorities for the day. It makes the new habits feel like a natural extension of what you already do.
Okay, Law 1, make it obvious. Or invisible for bad habits. Got it. What's Law 2? Making it attractive.
Yes, Law 2 is make it attractive. It taps into that craving part of the loop. We're more motivated by the anticipation of a reward than the reward itself. That's dopamine working its magic. Dopamine spikes not just when we get the reward, but when we expect it. So we need to make the anticipation of our good habits more appealing.
How do we do that? Especially for things that aren't naturally fun, like, say, doing taxes or cleaning the bathroom.
A great strategy here is temptation bundling. You pair an action you want to do with an action you need to do. Remember that engineering student, Ronan Byrne? He hacked his exercise bike so it would only play Netflix if he cycled at a certain speed. He bundled exercising, need to do, with watching Netflix, want to do. He conditioned himself to actually look forward to cycling, or at least associate it with something pleasurable.
That's genius. So you make the want activity conditional on doing the need activity first.
Exactly. You can combine this with habit stacking, too. After current habit, I will need habit, and after need habit, I'll want habit. Like, after I get home from work, I will do 15 minutes of tidying up, and after I tidy up, I will allow myself to listen to my favorite podcast.
Linking the necessary chore to an immediate desired reward. What about the social side? We're wired to fit in, right?
Hugely influential. We imitate the habits of 3 groups. The close, family friends. The many, the tribe culture. And the powerful, those with status we admire. So a powerful way to make a habit attractive is to join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. Want to read more? Join a book club. Want to get fitter? Join a running group or a CrossFit gym where fitness is the norm.
The desire to belong pulls you along.
It's incredibly strong, often stronger than individual motivation. If everyone around you values something, you're much more likely to value it too. You can also reframe your mindset. Change the language. Instead of thinking, ugh, I have to go for a run, think I get to build my endurance and clear my head. It frames it as an opportunity, a privilege, not a chore. Makes it instantly more attractive.
Okay, so make good habits attractive. And the inversion for bad habits, make them unattractive. How does that work, especially if they feel good in the moment?
You make them unattractive by focusing on the immediate downsides or reframing the benefits to highlight the costs. It's about shifting your perspective. Think about smokers who successfully quit. Many do so by really focusing on the negative consequences. The smell, the cost, the health risks, the social stigma making the act itself feel less desirable. Or consider that extreme thought experiment. Embedding nuclear launch codes in a volunteer's heart. It makes the act of launching profoundly unattractive because the immediate cost is visceral and personal.
Right, bringing the future pain into the present moment.
Exactly. By emphasizing the negative consequences, the loss of freedom, the damage to your health or reputation, you diminish the appeal of the bad habit. You associate it with negative feelings, making it less likely you'll initiate the craving. It's the flip side of making good habits feel like an opportunity. You make bad habits feel like a definite loss.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Obvious, attractive. Law 3 must be about the response part of the loop, making it easy.
You got it. Law 3 is make it easy. This taps into our fundamental human nature, the law of least effort. We are naturally wired to conserve energy. We gravitate towards the option that requires the least work. So the goal is simple. Reduce the friction for your good habits. Make them as effortless as possible. And conversely, increase the friction for your bad habits.
How do we reduce friction for good habits? Give me some examples.
Simplify everything. Want to eat healthier? Chop your veggies on Sunday for the whole week. Want to send more thank you notes? Keep cards, stamps, pens all together ready to go. Want to go to the gym in the morning? Lay out your clothes, pack your bag, put your shoes by the door the night before.
Remove steps, remove decisions.
Exactly. Fewer steps between you and the desired behavior. You can also prime the environment. Set things up beforehand to make the future action easier. Tidy your desk before you finish work so it's ready for tomorrow. Put the book you want to read on your pillow. Make the path smooth.
But what if the habit itself still feels huge? Like write a book or learn Spanish. Even with a primed environment, that initial step can feel overwhelming.
That's where the famous 2-minute rule comes in. It's incredibly effective for overcoming that initial resistance. The rule is, when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do.
Less than 2 minutes.
Yes. Read before bed each night becomes read 1 page. Do 30 minutes of yoga becomes take out my yoga mat. Run 3 miles becomes put on my running shoes.
So the focus isn't on the full habit initially, just on the very first action.
Exactly. The point isn't to achieve the end goal in 2 minutes, it's to master the art of showing up. To make starting the habit incredibly easy, almost automatic. You standardize before you optimize, build a routine of just starting before you worry about duration or intensity. Momentum often carries you further once you've begun. It overcomes procrastination by making the first step ridiculously small.
It builds the identity of someone who just starts.
Precisely. And you can build on it with the 2-minute ladder, start with 2 minutes, then maybe 5, then 10, gradually scaling up as the habit becomes ingrained. It keeps it manageable.
Okay, make good habits easy. How do we apply this friction idea to breaking bad habits?
Yeah.
Make them difficult.
Exactly. Increase the number of steps, the effort required between you and the bad habit. Add friction. Want to watch less TV? Unplug it after each use. Put the remote in another room. Maybe even take the batteries out. Want to scroll less? Delete the apps from your phone. Log out after each session. Put your phone in a locked box with a timer.
Make it a hassle.
Make it a real hassle. The more inconvenient it is, the less likely you are to do it impulsively. You can also use commitment devices. These are choices you make now that lock in better behavior later. Like Victor Hugo giving away his clothes so he had to stay inside and write. Or using software that blocks distracting websites during work hours. Or publicly committing to a goal with consequences for failure.
You're essentially making it harder for your future self to mess up.
That's the idea. Make good habits the path of least resistance, and bad habits require climbing a mountain. Make good habits inevitable, bad habits impossible.
Okay, final law. Law 4. Make it satisfying. We've made it obvious, attractive, easy. Now we need to ensure it sticks. This is about the reward part of the loop.
Absolutely. This brings us to the cardinal rule of behavior change. What is immediately rewarded is repeated. What is immediately punished is avoided. Our brains evolved in an immediate return environment. We prioritize immediate gratification. That's why it's hard to stick with habits where the reward is delayed, like saving money or exercising. The payoff is way off in the future.
So we need to find a way to get a little hit of satisfaction right now when we do a good habit.
Exactly. Add a little bit of immediate pleasure or satisfaction to the habits that pay off long term. Doesn't have to be huge. Maybe after you finish a tough workout, you allow yourself a relaxing bath with nice salts. Or after you resist ordering takeout and cook a healthy meal, you put the money you saved into a jar for something fun. Or simply track your habit, seeing that X on the calendar can be surprisingly satisfying.
The tracking itself provides a reward.
It does. It provides immediate visual evidence of progress. It feels good to see that chain grow. That visual proof reinforces the behavior.
What about those habits of avoidance? Like not smoking or not eating junk food? How do you make not doing something satisfying? The reward is the absence of a negative, which is hard to feel immediately.
That's a great question. You need to make the benefit of avoidance visible and immediate. So if you're avoiding frivolous spending, like we mentioned, open that special savings account, trip fund, or whatever. Every time you resist an impulse buy, transfer the money you would have spent into that account right away.
So you see the fund growing. That's the immediate reward.
Yes, you see the tangible benefit of your restraint immediately. Or if you're avoiding junk food, maybe track your weight loss progress visibly or notice how much more energy you have. Find a way to make the positive outcome of not doing tangible and satisfying now. Create a loyalty program for yourself.
So tools like habit trackers are key here for making progress visible and satisfying.
Hugely helpful. Marking an X on a calendar, moving a paperclip from one jar to another, using an app, whatever works for you. It does 3 things. Makes the habit obvious, reminds you, attractive, shows progress, and crucially satisfying, gives you that little win.
Yeah.
You can even habit stack the tracking itself. After good habit, I will track my habit. It reinforces the whole loop.
But what happens when we inevitably slip up?
Right.
Life happens.
Yeah.
We miss a day at the gym, eat the cake, skip the meditation. How do we get back on track without feeling like a total failure and giving up?
This is so important. The key principle here is never miss twice.
Never miss twice.
Missing once, it's an accident, it happens, don't beat yourself up. But missing twice in a row, that's the start of a new bad habit. That's where the slide begins. The data suggests that lost days hurt you more than successful days help you when it comes to compounding. Breaking the chain is costly. So if you miss a day, the absolute most important thing is to get back on track the very next day. No excuses.
Even if it's not perfect.
Even if it's just a tiny version, didn't do your hour workout, fine. Just do 5 push-ups. Didn't write 1,000 words, write 1 sentence. Didn't meditate for 20 minutes, do it for 1 minute. The goal isn't perfection. It's reinforcing your identity as someone who shows up. You reaffirm that you're the type of person who doesn't skip workouts, even on bad days. It prevents one slip from turning into a complete derailment.
Okay, never miss twice. And the final inversion. How do we make bad habits truly unsatisfying so we really don't want to do them again?
We need to introduce an immediate cost. Make the consequence painful or unpleasant right away. This leverages the immediately punished is avoided rule. Accountability partners work wonders here. Tell someone your goal and have them check in. Knowing someone else is watching, knowing you might have to admit failure, that social cost can be a powerful motivator. We hate letting others down.
Makes it embarrassing to fail.
Exactly. You can formalize this with a habit contract. Write down the bad habit you want to stop and define a clear, painful penalty if you do it. Maybe you have to pay your accountability partner $50 every time they catch you smoking, or donate to a cause you strongly dislike if you skip your workout commitment. The public nature, the painful consequence. It makes breaking your promise much less appealing. It provides that immediate negative feedback loop that makes the bad habit unsatisfying.
Wow, okay. Obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying. And they're inversions. That's a solid framework. What about sustaining things long term? Beyond just establishing the habit, how do we stay motivated when something becomes routine?
That's where we get into advanced strategies. One key idea is the Goldilocks rule. We experience peak motivation when we're working on tasks that are right on the edge of our current abilities.
Not too hard, not too easy.
Exactly. Just right. Challenging enough to be engaging, keep us focused, but not so difficult that we get discouraged and give up. Psychologists find that sweet spot is often around 4% beyond your current skill level. The biggest threat to long-term success isn't usually failure, it's boredom. When habits become routine, automatic, they can lose their appeal. The novelty wears off.
So we need to find ways to introduce just enough challenge to stay engaged. Keep pushing that edge slightly.
Precisely. It's about staying in that flow state where you're optimally challenged and fully immersed. Professionals understand this. They stick to their schedules, they put in the reps, even when they don't feel inspired, even when it's boring.
They don't just rely on feeling motivated.
Right. Amateurs wait for motivation. Professionals stick to the schedule. They find satisfaction in the process itself, in showing up and pushing that boundary just a little bit each time. They embrace the necessary boredom sometimes because they're committed to the system and the identity. It's about deliberate practice, even within a routine, to keep improving.
That brings up another question. What about talent? Does natural ability play a big role here? Or is it really all about effort and the system? Some people just seem to pick things up so easily.
That's a fair point. Effort and systems are crucial, absolutely. But aligning your habits with your natural inclinations, your inherent abilities, that definitely maximizes your odds of success. It makes the whole process feel less like a struggle. It's about choosing the right game to play.
Yeah.
Your genes can't easily be changed, right? But they can definitely clarify what you should probably focus your hard work on.
So genes don't determine destiny, but maybe they hint at where effort will pay off most.
Exactly. They don't remove the need for hard work, but they suggest where that work will likely yield the greatest returns and feel most intrinsically rewarding. You want to play a game where the odds are stacked, even slightly, in your favor.
And if you can't win by just being better in a crowded field,
Then try to win by being different. Combine your unique skills in a novel way. Create your own game, one that favors your specific strengths and minimizes your weaknesses. This might involve an explore-exploit approach. Spend some time exploring various interests and skills. Then, when you find something that clicks aligns with your talents, you enjoy it, it offers opportunities you really lean in and exploit that advantage by focusing your habits there.
but don't stop exploring completely.
Ideally, no, keep maybe 10–20% of your time for continued exploration. It prevents getting stuck in a rut, keeps things fresh, and might reveal new combinations or opportunities down the line. It helps you find that sweet spot where your nature meets nurture effectively.
Okay, one last area. It's intriguing. Can good habits actually have a downside? It sounds weird, but could automation lead to complacency, blind spots?
That is a really sharp insight, and yes, it's a crucial point for anyone aiming for true mastery, not just competence. The huge upside of habits is automation doing things without thinking, saving energy, fantastic for consistency. The downside is exactly what you said. When things become truly automatic, we can stop paying close attention, we might overlook small errors, fail to adapt to changing circumstances, complacency can creep in, performance can subtly degrade if we're not careful.
So mastery isn't just about having the habits locked in.
No, it's habits plus deliberate practice. You need both the consistency of the habit and the conscious attention of deliberate practice to keep refining and improving.
So automation is great, but it can hinder improvement if we go completely unconscious. We need a way to stay present.
Precisely. You need a system for regular reflection and review. Step back periodically. Assess your core values. Ask, are my habits still serving the person I want to be? Are they aligned with my goals? Where can I improve? Maybe set up quarterly reviews. Ask yourself, what are my core values? Am I living with integrity? How can I set a higher standard for myself? How can I push the edge a bit more? This conscious reflection prevents that autopilot complacency. It ensures you're not just maintaining, but actively improving. It also keeps your identity flexible, committed to growth, not just stuck in a fixed state of being good. Keep your identity small, adaptable, always open to upgrades.
Audit your habits, audit your systems, audit yourself regularly.
Yes. It's about ensuring the system you've built is still the right system for who you are becoming. That's the path to sustainable, lifelong growth.
This is it on today's book, guys. And guys, kindly subscribe and follow us for more such insights on various books. And also, do not forget to join our social media community to stay in touch and get updated.